You know what? Our next guest is future is so bright. Also got to wear Shady Rays, perhaps. I don't know. We'll see. Shady Rays. Send Ashley Ryan some sunglasses. Welcome back to Road Gang Radio. You know that Jim, what's one of the parts that's so cool about living in Nashville and being in entertainment here for so long is that when we want to find cool guests, and sometimes cool guests at the last minute. I can call my cool friends, like my friend Elise Anderson, who's a badass publicist in town, and be like, I know you got an amazing guest for me tomorrow, right? And she's like, yeah, girl, I got your back. Not only do I have a guest, I have one of the hottest female soul sisters in country music here in Nashville, and she just so happens to be available tomorrow morning. So, ask and you shall receive. Joining us next, our next guest, Ashley Ryan. She's proof, guys, that both faith and fire can coexist, I believe. She's a little bit, and hear me out, Ashley. She's a little bit, Jesus take the wheel, and a little bit, Jesus help me murder a man. It's okay. It's #balance around here. It's all good. She hails from Corona, California, but she escaped like so many other Californians. I'm not saying she doesn't love it there, guys. I don't know anything about her yet, but I'm about to. She now calls Nashville her home since 2018. Ashley Ryan is quite the star in country music between her storytelling and her grit, one of my favorite words of a modern woman. And Jim, you know I love me some grit. She signed to the indie label Spinville Music, which quickly helped her make waves with her breakout single, Hush Little Baby, which is a haunting, badass lullaby that flips the script on the sweet little bedtime song. It's racked up nearly 30 million combined streams across all platforms. 30 million streams, guys. What have you done with your life? She's rooted in faith, deep in country. She has shared the stage in an impromptu duet with Keith Urban. She's been featured everywhere from CMA Fest to country radio. She writes the kind of songs that make you laugh, cry, maybe check your ex's location. All right, it's time to shut up and just pour, girl, because y'all, please make welcome to the show my new friend and yours, Ashley Ryan. Good morning to you, friend.
Wow. Good morning, everyone. That was the coolest intro I think I have ever had said about me. So good morning.
Yay! I will come on stage anytime. I will whore myself out for your show anytime, friend.
Yes, and shout out to Elise. We love our girl Elise.
Yes.
She's awesome.
She's amazing. I know that when I reach out to her, she's going to give me a good quality artist like yourself. So Ashley, please say good morning to my co-host and friend, Jimmy Mack.
Jimmy Mack, good morning. How are both of y'all doing today?
Dan and Grandy, and the fact that you're here makes me even more excited about the last 20 minutes, 25 minutes or so of this particular show. I want people really who are listening right now to get a chance to meet you. So head over to AshleyRyanOfficial.com where you can get all the deets. And of course, as you probably are guessing, given the fact that there are 30 million impressions, 30 million reactions out there, that there's a really big social media presence as well. Ashley, one of the cool things, and Lindsay's alluded to this, is the fact that you exist in a genre of the particular kind of music that you play that a lot of people don't inhabit that space because it's a dangerous place to be, because it's bourbon and barbed wire and sharp elbows and telling it like it is, and yet still being able to reach a large, widespread audience. I mean, we're not talking about Bonnie Prince Billy here. We're not talking about these kind of indie labels where you got a couple of really kind of devoted friends who live in the Idaho of the mind. You've got to simultaneously tell it like it is while at the same time talking to a much larger audience. Was that the intention, or did it just... I hate to ask this question, but I mean, this isn't part of a plan. This is just you being you and things kind of picking up from there, right?
Yeah, I mean, that's a great question, Jimmy. I think it just kind of fell onto me. I love that y'all were talking about that I'm rooted in my faith, and that it always goes back to my faith in Jesus. He put this dream on my heart, and when you're 16 years old, you're just writing songs about, burning your cheating husband's house down, things of that nature. You don't really,
as one does.
You're not thinking as one does. You're not really thinking, how does this reach people? Like, all of those kind of music rules come into play later on when you're in Nashville, or you're actually trying to make something of yourself. You're not just singing in your hairbrush, pretending you're Carrie Underwood in your mirror. So it's kind of funny. I think all of that just came about naturally, and I don't know. I've always believed just write what you love and do what you're proud of, and people are going to connect to it somehow. So
yeah, it goes back to Yeah, actually, it goes back. I mean, if you build it, they will come. It goes, I've realized so much in my later years that cliches are cliches for a reason because they're absolutely true. So to your point, like, and to Jim's, it's like, be me, follow my nose, follow my joy, and the right people will show up, or the ones that are meant to hear your message, that because it's a relationship between you and your listeners. And I said to Jim at the beginning of this show, Ashley, listening through your music last night and this morning, and watching some of your videos, I feel, and I mean this as a compliment, I feel like your music it reminds me, it takes me back to like the early 2000s, like a throwback. I love 90. I love 90s country, but for you, because you're younger than I am, and so I feel like it's a 2000s throwback in a good way. Everything old is new again, because you're doing the songs and the music that are like bar brawls, but like in a good camaraderie kind of way. It's like when I first moved to town, what seeing at Tootsie's, the stuff that I liked before it became a bachelorette and puke fest downtown. Like you're doing what Nashville wanted to be a long time ago and was becoming. Do you feel that in your music? Does that resonate to you, that time frame?
Oh, Lindsay, that's literally everything I aspire to do.
Yay, okay.
I grew up on that, I can't remember who told me this, but somebody once told me there's something about making the music that made you want to be an artist. And for me, I grew up on the 2000s. I actually, funny enough, I grew up on like Metallica, AC/DC, LOL.
Yes.
But that kind of comes out in some of my
It does.
songs.
You can hear it. You can hear bits and pieces. You can actually hear bits and pieces.
You can hear the James Hetfield in my voice, No. But we have fun, We just write songs that we love. By me and my co-writers are family. And I grew up with Miranda Lambert, Carrie Underwood, Rascal Flatts, Keith Urban, everyone, Dierks Bentley. And when I heard certain songs, I thought to myself, I want to do that. That song makes me feel something. And so I just like to do the music that made me want to start doing music at all. So, yes, that is 100% accurate, and I love the throwback feel.
Good.
We were talking yesterday about something that is of a great deal of interest to me because I feel like one of the ways that you cut yourself off from success is you get too obsessed with success too early. That I often find that people will go to school or they'll study an industry before they study themselves. That they won't figure out who they are as an artist, and that even if they're talented, they end up trying to craft something that they think the people who actually are in charge of like getting your stuff out there want, as opposed to making themselves. And I was kind of wanting you to dig into this thought, the idea it's important, I think, for people to actually exist in the world, figuring out who they are before they arrive in Nashville, before they arrive on the scene, and that the more you calculate early on, the less you are authentic, and that by not being authentic, you may know all the ins and outs of exactly what they're looking for, but they often need to be told what they're looking for. Ashley, does that make sense? And do you feel like that's why you've been graced by God, as you would kind of see it, to kind of give yourself the time you needed to become the person you needed to become before the boys in the suits got their hands on your product?
Y'all are asking the good questions. I love that.
What color do you like? That's not this show.
No, I love it. I love this. Yeah, I think there's a lot of things that come into play because you move to town, and something I got asked all the time was, what is your sound? And I was always so confused by that. I'm like, what do you mean? I'm country. What does that mean? What's my sound? I don't know. I like fiddle, steel guitar. I don't know. What does that mean?
Right.
But now that I'm like 7-ish years deep in Nashville, I completely understand what that means now, because I'll even call myself out on this. I moved to town trying to be the next Carrie Underwood, the next Miranda Lambert. And you can't do that. You have to be the first, in my case, Ashley Ryan, So it's making sure you're not mimicking the artist that raised you. You can still pull influence from them, but it's really easy to, okay, I want to write A Little Red Wagon by Miranda Lambert. I want to write something that's very similar, but I'm going to do it my own way. It's like, try to write things that are true from your own perspective, that are genuinely creative on your own, and put the phone down, go outside, take a walk, be in nature, get some real, genuine influence for your music and inspiration. And, yeah, I think all the other rules come into play where it's like, okay, if we're going for radio, a lot of people are like, okay, is it quick to the chorus? Is this song less than 3 minutes? Like, there's all these rules and, like, different rules for different things, you know, but I think there's a way to play the game, but also have fun and be authentic and put out great music. And I absolutely, just meeting people and growing in my friendships and my co-writers, you never want to be the smartest person in the room, and that's really helped me find my sound, I think. So absolutely, I definitely am not the same Ashley Ryan 7 years ago that I am now. So absolutely, I would say all of that is totally accurate.
You said so many things in there that resonate and that I think are great for our listeners to hear. Ashley, the vast majority of our listenership are over-the-road truck drivers, and they have a lot of time to both consume art and music and audiobooks and podcasts, whatever, but also to find themselves and the things they see out on the road. And to spend a lot, maybe some might say too much time alone in their head and their thoughts. And but you know, I think kind of a little bit what you and Jim are alluding to, so much about, which I believe in wholeheartedly, so much about what you're putting out is authentic, you know, has to be about authenticity, but also intention behind it. And I saw you talking on, I think it was the faith-based podcast, Committed to Your Faith, or what is that podcast called?
Oh, Sounds of Faith. Yeah.
Sounds of Faith.
That was so fun.
Yeah, I saw you talking about the idea of if I think too much about the music business or too much about music or fame or whatever, then that gets in the way of the intention, the why. Why did you move here? You moved here because music spoke to your soul and lit you up. So if we lose the why, we have a problem. But back to the point of my question, I want to ask you back to the point of playing the game, because the two truths can be, you know, you can equal parts kind of play the game, play the music business, and as I like to say, use them as much as they use you. Once you're in that sweet spot, you're good to go. And then it's like, okay, now what do I want to say? What do I want to put out there? And so my question to you is, what do you want to say? Because one of my biggest co-writers said to me one day, I was like, you don't go to therapy? He said, no, I write songs. And it was such an aha moment for me. I was like, oh yeah, we can sneak in as songwriters. We are able to work our stuff out in song. Do you find yourself consciously or subconsciously working your stuff out in song?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, there's literally an inside joke in Nashville. It's like, if you don't have a mental breakdown once a week, then you're probably not an artist trying to make it.
Yeah.
Like, we all have anxiety. We're all depressed. No, we definitely need music. I think, was it Miranda Lambert that said it? Music is medicine, something like that. And I was like, yeah, that's so true. So, yeah, I mean, I'm pro therapy. Like, y'all go get your therapy on. But for sure, I think there's something about hearing a song say everything you didn't know how to say, but when you hear it, it's like, oh my gosh, yeah, that's exactly how I feel. Or just random songs that make you cry, and you're like, why am I crying? Oh yeah, because this is pulling on something that I experienced. Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, since you mentioned, just real quick follow up before Jim jumps in, but since you mentioned Miranda, like her song Vice, to me was like, wow, she's saying some hard stuff in there and as Jim always says to me, there's a couple songs of mine I played for Jim where he's like, oh my God, that made me cringe. And not because, hey, he wasn't saying I don't like that. He's like, oh, you're saying that. It makes us cringe. And it's like, thank you for saying it so I don't have to. Those kind of vibes. So as you evolve, are you getting more comfortable being like, I'm going to say the thing because it's so, I mean, you've got to use your platform. If you want to make a stink and make a move and be heard, it's like, I got to say the thing that someone else doesn't want to so that they're comfortable maybe saying it moving forward, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I think, and again, like, there's nothing wrong with this, but there is a game to play, and it is what it is. Every single artist has to play the game. You know, there's things to, okay, maybe we should put out a little bit more surface level. They're still super fun songs, but let's reel in an audience first, and then we can get deeper and deeper and deeper with every passing album. You get to learn a little bit deeper about the artist. But then, you know, it's weird because it's like there's no answers and there's all kinds of answers too, because that can be true. But then at the same time, the song that really opened doors for me is Hush Little Baby, and that is not a surface level song. So I think people are really yeah, no, it ain't your little hand out the window, roll your windows down song. I mean, it can be, but it's touching on very serious things, and I think a lot of people are hungry for substance. So I'm I'm definitely not afraid to put out the love songs, put out the, the more free and easy, I'm just trying to roll the windows down, have a good time kind of songs. I think those are necessary. We need those. But, yeah, we also need those ballads that make you cry. We need those upbeat songs that, you're angry and that lets you blow your steam off. And it's all necessary, I think.
I got a couple of things here. You said if you're not losing your mind once a week, are you really an artist? I want to add a little wrinkle to that is you can either lose your mind once a week or never at all, because then you're a complete psychotic psychopath who's creating like this, what I call this Titanic sort of like, colossus works of art. There are people out there who never lose it because they lost it a long time ago and they live out in the in the hinterlands. The other thing is it's the playing the game comment you made, that even people who claim not to play the game and pretend not to play the game. Look, I love Johnny Cash. I adore him. But anybody thinks that anyone who has that many black and white pictures of them, like looking off in the distance in tough environments, isn't playing the game. I've always said that there's a group of outsiders who literally are telling you, I'm not playing the game. And you're like, wait a minute, dude. You've got all these carefully cultivated photographs of you not playing the game. That sounds an awful lot like playing the game. That even when you're not... It's one of those things, too, where I mentioned earlier about not getting too obsessed with the rules when you first start going. But at some point, you've got to learn the rules. And once you learn them, even if you're breaking them on a regular basis, you're breaking them from a place of actually knowing the game that you're playing. That is another person in the game. Is that kind of what you're getting at? We're not saying you can't be a rebel, but you can't be a rebel without a clue, right?
Oh, 1,000%. And again, it's the point of, oh, I hate the game. It's like, well, it's not necessarily that the game itself is bad. It's just you're exactly right. You have to know how to play the game. You have to know how to play it enough where you're not losing yourself and you just sound like every other artist and your song has no substance. But you also don't want it to be so like middle finger to the system, because that system is going to get you the notoriety that you want. It's a really interesting thing.
Yeah, you want a fan base that's saying like, I love Ashley, she doesn't play the game. And it's like, yeah, you're right, I don't play the game, as all these game players kind of assemble. Yeah, you get the idea, though, that you're finding a niche of people who like the fact there's a group of people who play the game of not playing the game, and that is something that you have to curate as well. You've still got to...
But Jim, it's way better to play the game than let the game play you. Let's be honest.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Hold on, we need a mic drop for that. Y'all have a little mic drop sound you could do?
Yeah.
Hey, get the mic drop ready, Dre.
We actually...
Hang on, I'm going to say it again.
Do you still have that? We can play that, by the way. We actually have one coming.
He's looking.
He's looking for...
doing his job.
But it goes back to the other saying that is very much like that, which is if you're not at the table, you're on the menu. And that's, that's one of the ones that I love as well, too, that really lands.
That's good.
That kind of plays its way through.
So it's basically, correct me if I'm wrong, Ashley Ryan, you'd rather play the game than let the game play you.
Mic drop. Yes.
Did you hear me drop that mic? I'll do it again.
No, that's so on it. I love that. The menu line, that was good. Your one-liners are good, y'all.
Well,
we're getting in there. Well, okay, so we have to the basic. This, of course, as publicists, shout out to Elise, but of course, you got to throw into the publicist bio the moment you had on stage you got to duet with Keith Urban, and that's like you don't want to make that's a big deal. But I think it's and hear me out when I say this. I think that's an important thing. That's a cool thing you got to do in your career. It does not define you, but it's what some of the dummies will look for, because people are like, well, who have you played with? How many followers do you have? What song do I know of yours? Before people get to know you, but it is part of it.
All of them.
Yeah, that part is part of the game. But I think it's important when you say you're standing there on stage with Keith Urban. I think in that moment you have to be like, there's a big difference between, oh my gosh, I can't believe I'm standing on stage I'm duetting with Keith Urban. There's a difference between that and, of course, I'm duetting with Keith Urban. Of course, because I think that signifies that, yeah, of course I'm doing this and I want more of this and I'm going to keep going. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I mean, it's funny because while I felt, it's such a Jesus thing, I say, because when I was actually on stage with him, I had no nerves. I was not anxious. I didn't feel like my voice was getting shaky of nervousness at all. Like, I just felt like this is awesome. I want to soak in every minute of it. And I really think that's the Holy Spirit just kind of allowing me that peace. And yeah, I mean, it's funny because I had only moved to Nashville, let me see, like 7 months prior to the Bridgestone performance with me and Keys. And so I kind of went from that girl singing in her hairbrush, pretending she's Carrie Underwood, to that pretty quickly. So there was really not a lot in between for my career at that point. So for me, that was like a little girl just like going into a candy store, like, whoa, this is awesome. So it was truly an incredible experience. And now that I'm 7 years deep, I look back and I'm like, wow, that is so much cooler now that I'm 7 years deep in Nashville. I'm really seeing just how hard it really is to break through all the noise. And just in every facet, it's hard to get gigs. It's hard to get playlisted. It's hard to get 8 million followers. It's hard to get more streams and radio play. It's so hard in every facet. So at that point, I just had the rose-colored glasses on, and I was just having a good time like a little golden retriever, and I hold that memory very dear in my heart. It was amazing.
That's awesome.
There is a line from a movie that is considered one of the greatest movies ever made where a guy says, he said he was the biggest damn fool I ever met, and the response is, well, he made a lot of money, and the response back to that is, it's no trick to making a lot of money if all you want to do is make a lot of money. And the reason that line lands with me is there's got to be a moment for you, for Lindsay, for all of our friends out there that we've talked to, where you understand what needs to be done. You know that the Holy Spirit, the great cosmic woo, has basically infused you with the talent and the ability to do it. But you also realize, and this is why our relationship with God is so important, what you need to do is so rough and so hard that you can do it, but then you must have these mental and emotional moments where I know I can do this, but that's all I'm going to be able to do for quite some time. That must be an exhausting revelation for anybody who gets into this industry, that you can do all that stuff that you just talked about. That's a lot of work, isn't it?
Yeah, it's really funny because it can be a very heavy thing, but then I'm like, dang, God literally told Moses to go free the Jewish people from slavery, from the Egyptians. So, I think I could do the music career. I think he's not asking me quite what he asked a lot of other people in the Bible, so I think I could do this.
Well, that's a good point.
With God, all things are possible. So, His will be done, but it'll happen if He wants it to. So.
Well, it shows we've evolved, and I think that's oddly a really great bridge there that you just said, because it shows we've evolved where we're not having to do that kind of hard thing. And yes, you're not digging ditches, you're not solving curing cancer. However, what you are doing is giving people, it's entertainment music was one of the things that sustained, that people needed, say during COVID when the world shut down. You are using your voice and your place to deliver a message, and you do it really well. You're really cool. I love to say #balance, and I just want to say as a compliment, you're a really cool #balance of trusting your faith and keep being grounded in what's important and tension, but also getting out there and being ballsy and not like scaring off the people to be like, well, oh, she talks about Jesus, so I can't live where she does. You're like, no, come on, let's get dirty, but let's also
Exactly.
be grounded, right?
Oh, I really appreciate that. Yeah, thank you so much. I try not to, I guess, speak the Christianese, and freak people out, but I'm definitely not afraid to be bold in my faith. Jesus was very bold on that cross, so how can I not be bold?
Well, and remember, I always tell people that the whole purpose of the moment in the garden is to remind us that we are understood, that even He knows what it means to suffer and have a moment of absolute agony before we have to push through and do what needs to be done. Ashley, I wish we had more time. We don't, but Lindsay's got one more question for you.
Well, yeah, and I want to be able to say goodbye to her after this. There's 3 questions we ask every guest, but I've got to ask the question before that. What's your ideal stage that you haven't been on yet that you can't wait to play one day?
Ooh, Madison Square Garden.
Yeah, girl,
Awesome.
dream big. Yes, I love it.
That'd be
Okay,
awesome.
done. Well, we can't wait to see you at that show. And then the 3 questions we ask every guest, because the first half of the show is about making a living. The second half is about making a life, how you spend your life out on the road. If you could go anywhere this weekend, whether that be working or not, where are you going? How you getting there? What are you listening to along the way?
If I can go anywhere this weekend, ooh. Well,
And it can be out there.
Weirdly enough, I would probably say Italy. That's so random.
Sure.
That is so random. I love Italy, and I've always wanted to go. So I would be eating pizza off the Amalfi Coast in Italy.
I love it. And what are you listening to along the way?
Oh, listening to, honestly, probably some local Italian music. I'm going to go for it. Full Italian.
Go do the full immersive experience. Fantastic.
I'm going in. And if not Italian music, then Cody Johnson.
Oh, me too. I'll go to that show with you. Ashley Ryan, everybody go follow her, go find her, download her music, and go over to Ashley Ryan Official. Hush Little Baby, it's already blowing up in the world, but her most current album is out now. It's really good. It's really fun. It's equal parts badassery and ballads. So go check it out. Badassery and groundedness. Ashley Ryan, thank you so much for hopping on with us this morning. Please come back.